Well, you know, Cavaliers head coach David Blatt told the Associated Press that he thought coaching in the NBA, after all his years of experience and success in Europe and Israel, would be, quote, a breeze, end quote. Well, he was right, of course, if by breeze he meant an F5 tornado. By the end of the season, Blatt was standing before the home crowd as an Eastern Conference champion, saying, "We're in Cleveland. Nothing is easy here." It's hard to say what he underestimated more, the challenge of winning it all in the NBA or the challenge of winning it all in Cleveland. Do Blatt's comments suggest he learned a hard lesson? I'd say they do. Do they suggest he'll win over a locker room that wasn't sold on him for a large part of the season and even wondered about the way he used his bench as recently as the NBA Finals? That's harder to judge, but right now I'd say no. What One All Rocker says is that by steamrolling into the finals without Kevin Love and Anderson Varejao and then winning 2 games without Kyrie Irving, Blatt showed he's a quick read. And I don't really disagree. But why would he think the NBA would be a breeze? He's obviously not that quick of a read. One of Blatt's big underestimations is how much of a players' league the NBA really is. His future as an NBA coach isn't predicated so much on whether he grasps matchups better next season, saves his players' legs, uses his bench better, as much as it is whether LeBron James believes he does all that. It's not hard to see a scenario where injuries come into play again next season. After all, Irving, Love, and Varejao are not exactly Iron Men. And then Blatt becomes a target if the Cavs struggle. Here's 2 schools of thought. One says he's not respected by his players. All I'll say is that no locker room speaks in a single voice, but this one with James comes pretty close. We'll know early next season if James is buying into Blatt. It didn't look like it much at all this season. The other thought is that the players most critical of Blatt are gone. Well, I don't really believe that. Sean Marion, maybe, but Blatt still has a lot of work to do with the players who will ultimately decide his fate. You can take his breeze quote a couple of ways. One is that he's calling himself out for his own naivety. The other is confirmation of what players were grumbling about privately, that he wasn't prepared last season, that his arrogance invited ignorance. I see no scenario where Blatt doesn't start the season as head coach. I also see enough success on the horizon that he'll probably finish it that way too. Beyond that, I still don't suspect that winning the players over will be, what's the word? A breeze?